Everything in India today is fast moving. The country is going through a resurgence of new nationalism and pride in all things Indian. The energy you find here is tangible and speedy. After almost 70 years of independence, India is again a global economic power and the world's largest democracy. India's culture is rooted in its 5,000 years of history, from early Dravidian migrants whose kings and chiefs were always in conflict with each other, to a conquest by Alexander the Great in 327 BC. In one of the most costliest battles his armies fought, and it was his last. 300 years of British rule, which was founded on quiet trade and shipping, and later military conquest, ended in 1947. A country that was once the crown jewels of the British Empire is now an eclectic mix of cultures with multiple regional, religious, cultural, caste and linguistic identities of its very own. Not to mention 22 official languages. Customs vary widely from north to south and east to west and even state to state. To understand India, you have to understand these differences. Today, this shopping centre here in Mumbai attracts the wealthy, increasingly confident and sophisticated Indian consumer. There's more choice in the shops, prices are competitive and local brands are popular. They sit alongside those produced by multinationals. With the pride in India's new nationalism has come pride in India's brands. Kotak Mahindra Bank is the number one in the top 10 risers in this year's BrandZ Top 50 Most Valuable Indian Brand Rankings, with branches in towns and rural areas. Two automobile manufacturers, Royal Enfield and Maruti Suzuki, are number 2 and 3 in our top 10 risers for the BrandZ rankings this year. Two airlines, Indigo and Jet Airways, top our newcomers list. As these shoppers go into this mall, they'll be on the lookout for quality premium brands, but they'll also want special offers. Brand loyalty is more fluid than in the past. Younger Indian consumers are willing to spend what they earn and to experiment. Now, a foreign brand isn't necessarily any better than one produced at home here in India. Technology is driving change in India with a thirst for modern lifestyle and quality brands. People are surrounded by images on billboards, TVs, laptops, and mobile phones of how others live. Rural consumers, many of whom now work in the service industries, are fast trying to catch up with their friends in the towns and cities, and brands are reaching out to them. Mobile is connecting them by literally helping people in these once remote areas to leapfrog into the modern world. The number of Indians who have mobile phones recently surpassed 1 billion users in a country of almost 1.3 billion people. But it's not just what's on sale here, it's what's being made in India that stands out. India is creating its own unique, highly individual versions of products that sell elsewhere in the world. Even so, the contrast between the modern, wealthy Indian shopper and just around the corner, the poorer communities, is still poignant. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's BJP party has just taken a bold step to help poorer communities by tackling tax evasion so that it can invest more in infrastructure, roads, schools and hospitals. 90% of all Indians' transactions are done in cash, and in 2013 government figures showed that only 1% of the population paid any income tax at all. On November the 8th, 2016, Modi announced with just 4 hours' notice that all 1,500 rupee notes would no longer be valid and would have to be replaced. 1,000 rupees is worth around 12 British pounds, but together these two sets of notes account for 86% of the currency in circulation. Long queues of people waited to exchange their notes at their banks, but in an orderly way. For a limited period, these old notes can still be exchanged for the new ones, or deposited in bank accounts. But if you exchange too much, you'll be investigated for tax evasion, and if you can't prove you paid your taxes, then you'll be charged the full amount and fined for it too. This will impact all of India. Poorer Indians often hide away rupees as savings for life events such as weddings, school fees or illnesses. And the middle classes too will be noticing the difference. A significant proportion of property transactions are paid in cash. Paying with suitcases full of 1,000 rupee notes is not unknown. With the size of the shadow economy being estimated to be as much as 20% of India's entire GDP, the merits of this shock and awe tactic are still being debated. At first it was thought that Modi had implemented a masterstroke, but with India still struggling to print enough of the new notes, and massive queues outside banks and now limits being imposed on what you can take out of ATM machines per day, he has since had to appear on TV asking people to bear the pain for 50 days. Economists say the currency shortage could shave off anticipated growth rates by 0.5% from October to December. Opposition parties are condemning his black money move. Whatever you think, demonetisation is a brave move by Modi, and how it will play out with India's small businesses or the economy at large is still not known. But if he does pull it off, more internal investment will help India's transition to a modern economy and its long-term growth. In India, the traditional coexists with the new. Mama and Papa stores are still servicing a purpose and the daily needs of millions of families. There's no one big all-embracing mass market in India, but sub-markets that reflect these geographic, religious, cultural and linguistic differences. That's the charm and the challenge of India today. Shopping in the modern hypermarkets, supermarkets and category superstores accounts for only around 7 to 8% of total retail sales here in India. Even in a small store, the Indian consumers want choice. Just an everyday personal care item might have 5 or 10 different formulations for skin type or hair types. And that means Mama and Papa stores need to stock them. Indian herbal products and Indian foods are back in fashion. Amazon has even been using these Mama and Papa stores as delivery centres to drop off goods for consumers to pick up. It's all part of India's can-do collaborative approach to change, bringing the old and the new together in this new jugaad, clever innovation. To succeed here in India, you need to be real. These days, not everybody has to be a Bollywood star. Nescafe has the confidence to feature a comedian with a stutter in one of its recent ads. India is growing and learning fast and wants its brands and products to be authentic wherever they're on sale. These tech goods and their prices would have been beyond the reach of most Indian families only a few years ago. Now attitudes and choice and spending have changed. The baby boomers of the 1950s grew up as India itself changed under independence. They were optimistic but frugal. But for their children, who grew up in the 1990s, product scarcity moved to product availability. The current millennial and Gen Z generations have experienced only extreme choice. Shopping habits are fast moving. For groceries, online shopping is growing. In fashion, the fusion of Indian and Western styles is growing too. And people shop for clothes anytime, not just as they used to, just before special festivals. For new technology, younger Indian shoppers also buy online, while many of their older generation still wants to be guided by sales assistants here in the stores. There's more money to spend on luxury items too, but if you can't afford the top-of-the-range Apple or Samsung, then there's a plethora of highly feature-rich yet value-delivering brands like Chinese phone manufacturer Xiaomi and fast-growing Indian brands like Micromax. Wherever they choose to shop, the big department stores, the local mama and papa shop, or the street market or the local cooperative, the Indian consumers is calling the shots, and they're sophisticated enough to know that. To find out more about the top 50 most valuable Indian brands 2016, just go to www.BrandZ.com and download the entire report full of insight, analysis and thought leadership pieces from WPP companies here in India and the entire top 50.